Welcome to the Speaking Deacon Show. I am David Lawson, your host. Most people call me David. Most people call me the American Hoochie Man from TikTok and other places, but you can call me David if you want to. You know who I am. I'm streaming through StreamYard. StreamYard has been good to me. So also, week 6 was also good to the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Look at this. Wake wins at Lane Stadium, beats Virginia Tech 30-23, and it wasn't overtime. And they led for most of the way, except there at the first. Ain't that something? Jake Dickard gets his first win. The team gets their first win under Jake Dickard in the conference. So they go to 3-2 and 1-2 in the conference. And they head to that's right, winless Oregon State, 0-6 next week. Next week they'll head to winless Oregon State. And they're 0-6. Then they got a bye week before they meet SMU on October the 18th, week 9. No, it's not October the 18th. It is October the 25th, actually. So the 18th, they're off. Bad typo here. But week 9 is October the 25th. And they'll meet SMU at homecoming. The SMU Mustangs. And we won't talk about this till later, but then they'll go back on the road and travel to Tallahassee to play FSU on November the 1st. Wow, how time flies. October is going by quickly. So we'll be talking about this and other things in our segments. So yes, Wake gets their first ACC win, strutting to the first ACC win under Jake Dickard, beating the Virginia Tech Hokies 30 to 23. Whichever you want to say it backwards or frontwards. There's a lot to talk about, which I haven't even, and I'll get into the other games from the ACC a little bit later. But we're going to talk about Wake Forest. So here is let me find my Wake Forest. So Jake Dickard is uniquely positioned in rebuilding Wake Forest football with relatively ease, not because the job lacks challenges, but because his experience, strategy, and the institutional context align perfectly. Here's why the transition looks promising. Now, other people will disagree, saying that why will Wake Forest have a hard time building the program? They're not having a hard time right now. So don't believe all these people that says they are, because they're not having a hard time. I mean, they're doing exactly what they're doing right now. And this could be a bowl team coming up with key wins. They got opportunities, to win. I mean, they got Virginia Tech, which they didn't get North Carolina State, but they got Virginia Tech. So why is the proven resilience in Coyotes at Washington State? Dickard navigated extreme instability, budget cuts, conference collapses, NIL losses, and mass transfers. But despite that, he led the Cougars to 3 bowl games and developed NFL caliber talent. Compared to that, Wake Forest offers stability, continuity, and institutional patience, and a rare luxury in modern college football. And we have the total program overhaul. Dicker just inherited a team. He rebuilt the entire infrastructure. New coaching staff of high-performing coordinators like Rob Uzzell, who 34.4 points per game offense at South Alabama, and Scotty Hazelton, defensive veteran from Michigan State and Texas. Can't ask for anything better than that from programs that are traditionally winners. And then we have the expanded recruiting operation with a 10-member team led by GM and assistant GM positions that didn't exist under Dave Lawson. And this isn't a tweak. It is a full-scale transformation with long-term vision. That's what Wake Forest is seeking. That's what Wake Forest is doing. And if you listen to anybody else out there, they're just disrespecting Wake Forest. They don't have any respect for Wake Forest because they don't want them to win. I'm not going to mention any names, but but I will one, and I disrespect her for saying what she says. And that's Kelly Gramlich. She lacks respect for Wake Forest, saying that Georgia Tech was lazy. The reason they let Wake Forest come back, and didn't give Wake Forest any credit at all. And I'm telling you, Kelly Gramlich, you need to change your ways if you want to keep your job, because I don't think that it's right for you to be judging a team that's being built and being built right, and then talking good about other teams, but you won't talk good about Wake Forest. Now, I'm not changing my opinion about that either. I mean, but you got other people on the shows that knows what they're talking about, and other people don't know what they're talking about. And I know what I'm talking about. I don't judge other teams by wins and losses. I judge them by how they're doing. And Wake Forest is doing real good, Kelly. So you need to go ahead and think positive and be firm and tell the truth. But anyway, enough of that. So Wake Forest built advantages. The program has had only two head coaches this century, Jim Grove and Dave Lawson, signaling rare institutional stability. They've only had 2 years that they lacked any kind of continuity because they lacked some players. But they got them now, and better than ever. Nobody ever sees that. Nobody sees the inside. They always look on the outside. But when it comes to other teams, they don't do that. I mean, they respect the other teams no matter who it is. And they'll even respect Stanford more than they will Wake Forest. And you got people out there, and I mentioned one of them. And so she needs to go ahead and tell the truth. Stop being prejudiced. Stop being disrespectful to other teams, whether it's Wake Forest or anybody else. But the program has only had two head coaches this century. Jim Grove, Dave Claus, signaling rare institutional stability. Dicker inherits a fan base and an administration that values methodical growth over knee-jerk reactions. And that's why a lot of the so-called, they call them experts, but they're not. They don't know anybody else, but they knee-jerk their reactions, and they don't tell the truth. The 2021 season was 11-3, proved Wake can compete at a high level when the system clicks, and Wake Forest is starting to click under Jake Dickert, and they'll even get better as the season goes on, and they'll get better next year under new leadership. They'll lose a little bit, but they'll have a lot coming in. Dicker's defensive strategy complements Wake's recent offensive identity, offering balance. His emphasis on player retention and relationships building fits Wake's culture of development over flash. So we got early signs of success. And can they continue it? I believe they can. Wake Forest already notched its first AC win under Dicker against Virginia Tech. They signed that the rebuild is gaining traction. No, Virginia Tech is not the best team, but they did beat NC State. And NC State beat Wake Forest, which I believe the Wake should have beaten NC State and Georgia Tech. Because if they're playing like that now, I mean, if they're playing like that then, like they are now, then they would have beaten them. Yeah, they made mistakes, but they're learning from it. But in short, Dicker's past forged him in fire. And Wake Forest offers him the tools, time, the trust, the building, something to do, including the money. If he can thrive at Coyotes, imagine what he could do with calm. So I believe that Wake Forest will indeed. And so just to end this segment, because I want to say to Kelly Graham that you do a good job, but sometimes you just lack things that you need to say. You say things that you shouldn't say. And I respect you for that, but I don't respect you not. And you're supposed to be a public figure. You're supposed to be on the air. And I'm going to end it with that. Thank you, Kelly Gramlich. Please get it right and don't judge other teams, no matter who it is. So let's go right to the preview of the Wake Forest at Oregon State. So that's going to be Saturday, October the 11th. And it's at 3:30 p.m. actually on the CW network. Got the wrong time up here. But anyway, it starts at 3:30. Unless they changed it. Let's see if they changed this thing, because sometimes they'll. No, it's 3:30. The actual game starts at 1:30 on their time. But anyway, location is at Reser Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon. We broadcast by the CW. Here are the storylines to watch. Jake Dicker's road test continues. Push off a win at Lane Stadium. Dicker leads the DEACS into Corvallis with momentum and a 4-2 record. This marks the first cross-country ACC era road trip against a team he knows well from his Pac-12 days. Oregon State's identity crisis. The Beavers are 0-6 and reeling. Head coach Trent Bray is in his second year trying to rebuild after the mass exit post. Jonathan Smith, Oregon State has lost 6 straight, including multiple blowouts. It ranks near the bottom nationally in scoring offense. Claver will probably carry the load if he's able to go. Wake's Demon Claver is averaging over 100 yards per game and will be the focal point against porous Oregon State run defense. Expect Wake to lean on the ground game early and often. The key matchups: Wake is 4-2. Oregon State is 0-6 points a game. Wake Forest is averaging about 28.5 points a game. Oregon State 17.3. Yards allowed per game, 312.4. Oregon State has allowed over 400 yards. ATS last 5. Wake is 3-2. Oregon State is 1-4. The public betting percentage is 67% on Wake, 33% on OSU. Wake is favored by 5.5 points with 87% of the money back in the DEACS. The over-under is set at 52.5, but with Oregon's State's offensive struggles beyond there may be in play. So here's the coaching chess match. Jay Dickert is 23-20 career versus Trent Bray, 5-13 career. Dicker's defensive roots and Bray's aggressive play calling will make this a battle of philosophies. Expect ways to pressure Oregon State young quarterback early enough and force turnovers and mistakes. Segment, here's our segment riff into the fog. The DEACS leave the tobacco fields and head into the midst of the public northeast Reser Stadium. It may be quiet, but the echoes of desperation are loud. Wake Forest doesn't just chase a win, they'll chase a statement. That's what they're looking to do when they go against Oregon State, regardless of whether they're 6-0, 0-6, winless and wounded, waits in the shadows, but beware, even a broken branch can trip a runner, right? So they got to go in there expecting to take on a strong Oregon State team and not overlook them. So this will be a test for the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest going to Oregon State. And that being said, we'll go into our next segment, which is my game predictions. Okay, coming up, but I'll be talking about the other games from. I won't go into details about it, but I'll be going over this right now with you. The games that, and then I'll be going over my big time ACC football 2025 power rankings post week 6. So let's go over the week 6 games. It was Pitt over Boston College, 48-7. Clemson over UNC, 38-10. Wake over Virginia Tech, 30-23. North Carolina State smothered Campbell, 56-10. Louisville got the win at the last. Louisville 30-27 over Virginia. I believe that was an overtime game. And SMU defeated Syracuse 31-18. Syracuse is still struggling, just like Virginia Tech. And also Miami got the win over FSU 28-22. And Duke ran all over Cal 45-21. So like I said, I am 50-21 for the season. I was 8-0 this past Saturday on week 6. My power rankings, I didn't put that up on the board. I'll make a logo, but here's my power rankings. Miami number 1, Georgia Tech number 2, Virginia Tech number 3. Virginia number 3. Let me do this over again. Miami 1, Georgia Tech 2, Virginia 3, Duke 4, Louisville 5, SMU 6, Pitt 7, FSU 8, Cal 9, NC State 10, Wake Forest 11, Clemson 12, Syracuse 13, Virginia Tech 14, Boston College 15, UNC 16, and Stanford 7. I believe that's pretty much correct because I went and checked the others after I did this to see how close I am, and most of them agree with other people agree with this. There's a few differences up and down, but basically, I think 1 through 4 is about right. I don't see FSU. They got FSU up there around 3 or 4 or something. I don't agree with that. I don't think that FSU is as good as some teams think they are. So that's a rundown of that one. So now let's go with my picks. So here is my big time ACC football matchup picks for week 7. Pitt is at number 23, Florida State. I expect FSU to take this one. Might be a little closer at the first, but I think Florida State, staying close to Miami. I mean, they're good too, but we're going to see how that happens. I'm picking for FSU. This will be a pretty good matchup, but I think I don't think Pitt will hang in there until at the end. I think the margin will be wider towards the end. So yeah, Pitt at number Florida State, number 23 Florida State, FSU wins this one. Stanford at SFU, Stanford at SMU. Yes, SMU will win this game. Virginia Tech at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has had a week off, and Virginia Tech just lost to Wake. I don't see this being too much of a game. But who knows? Virginia Tech surprised a lot of people. But since they got to go to Georgia Tech, and they're going to go into a hostile territory too, I think Georgia Tech will win this one. And North Carolina State's got to go to Notre Dame. And I just don't see NC State beating Notre Dame. But, that's why they play the game, right? But I'm picking Notre Dame. Wake Forest at Oregon State. They're 5.5 point favorites, Wake Forest is. Oregon State has not won a game, or really even come close. Appalachian State just beat them, I think. Not longer. Oregon State played Appalachian State. But Wake will get that one, and they'll move to 4-2, I believe. This is a non-conference game, so. And then Clemson travels to Boston College. Boston College hasn't done too well lately, but I don't see them changing Clemson's. It seems to be improving, but they did that against UNC. But so I'm picking Clemson. So yes, last week I was 8-0. I didn't put it on the social media because I was out. I didn't even do a show last week because I was out sick with pneumonia, so I didn't have time to do that. But anyway, I was 8-0. Total season record is 50-21, which is about a 70.4. That's better than a lot of the betting odds. So I'm doing pretty good there. So anything's possible. And so that's you go. Those are my picks. And this concludes the Speaking Deacon show for week 7 game week. I hope that you enjoy your games this week. And thank you for joining me. I hope you get something out of it. And please be respectful towards your other teams, and don't judge them just because you think that just because they rebuild it that they're not going to be any good. I mean, they're doing a lot better than North Carolina. I don't see them saying anything bad about them. So, if it's anybody but Wake Forest, they're going to talk good about them. And this is my commentary at the end of the show. And the fact is that people out there that think they know, they don't know nothing because they don't study, they don't look at the team, they don't look at what they got, and they want to judge other people. There's a lot of good teams in the ACC, and there's some that are not doing well. Stanford, Boston College, Syracuse is even going downhill. They're not talking bad about them. But anyway, I could go into a few other teams. but they'll get their act together. These experts say, but Wake Forest won't. And I'm calling you out. And I've already mentioned one person. That's all I'm going to do. Mention that one person, and I'm not apologizing for what I said. I don't think I said anything wrong. And and please don't do this. Please be fair, and please. Uh, these are games. This is not something you just put people down. If you're going to put people down, put teams down, then what are you saying about other people personally? I mean, you're going to judge other people by how they drive, by how they walk, by how they talk. I mean that's ridiculous. You're going to judge coaches because you don't know them very well. You don't know Jake Dickers very well, do you? You know, and when Dave Lawson first came in there, I believe they said the same thing. He couldn't do anything, but he did. But anyway, the commentary's over with. Y'all have a great week, and may God bless you. See you next week on the Speaking Deacon Show.